Christmas 1983. I received a present that would change my life forever. As I grabbed it in my tiny hands and peeled back the neatly wrapped paper encapsulating that treasure within, I found a red box. And on the outside of that red box, scrolling across the top in an archaic font, were the words Dungeons and Dragons. I was already intrigued until my eyes went further down the box to the giant red dragon battling a fighter on a hoard of treasure. I couldn't wait to get home and open that box. Unfortunately, when I did get home and open the box, I found out you had to have more than one player. That didn't stop me from making characters, nor did it stop me from reading about the story and playing with the really cool polyhedral dice that were inside. But I spent the next few years searching for a group I could join for adventures in this world. I'm Randy Brown, creator of Fists and Fiends, and today I'm going to introduce you to my black box, my shadow box, the combat trainer for Fists and Fiends. Let's get started. Now, when designing the shadow box, one thing that stood out to me right from the get-go was how I felt as a little boy opening that for the first time. One, I wanted that excitement, that joy, that intrigue, but I didn't want the disappointment of, I don't have anybody to play with. So with the shadow box, I designed it to be an adventure for 1 to 2 players. So you and one friend can jump in, but you can do it by yourself if you want to. When we talk about role-playing games, there's often a very steep learning curve to join in. So not only do new players have a barrier to entry with the rules, but they also have to find a group of people who are already playing. And they may feel like they're holding that group back because the group is way further ahead and already knows the rules. So the shadow box is not only designed for you to play by yourself, but it walks you through how the combat works, in addition to some of the other mechanics that you're going to commonly find in the game as you play. So you can feel comfortable when you join a group already understanding the dice mechanics, how actions work, how combat works, how chases work, how verbal confrontations work, and on and on. Here's the cover of the shadow box. Inside the box, you'll find Fists and Fiends dice. You'll find a custom dice bag with the Fist logo and the Fiend logo on it, and a cloth map of the Silt Road, the whole region that the campaign takes place in, as well as this combat trainer booklet. So here we start with the cover. You scroll by the credits, and there's a picture of the dice that we're going to use. Now we get into the first spread. I didn't spend any time on exposition narrative because I wanted to get players introduced right away through backstories of the characters and the stats that they're going to be looking at. So you get to choose right away whether you want to be a Mantis Boxer or Eagle Claw Boxer. Now it's recommended that you choose the Mantis Boxer for your first time through. And if you have a friend that's playing with you, they can roll for the bad guys instead of you having to roll for both sides. The Eagle Claw Boxer is not more advanced, but it's going to teach different mechanics and would help you a lot if you already understand some other rules that you learned going through the Mantis Boxer. Each boxer has their backstory. So Liang Shushang for the Mantis Boxers and Lao Fat Meng for the Eagle Claw Boxers. Is a picture of their background cards. Liang is a soldier, and Lao Fat Meng is an acrobat, an entertainer, a subclass of the entertainer background. Each page lists the boxer strategy as well as what their talent is. So when you're playing Fists and Fiends, each style of boxer has a talent. The Mantis, it's the sticky hooks, and the Eagle Claw, it's the steel talons. These are things that define them and separate them from the other boxers. Now, for simplicity, I don't list the Master and Fiend level. It's simply the Novice level so that you can understand quickly and easily what your fighter can do. So the Mantis Boxer, at Novice level, he can spend 1 fighting spirit, gain the clinch position immediately after a successful strike, block, or kick. The stat blocks show you your attributes: might, sleight, wit, and grit, and your skills that pertain to each of those attributes underneath. So as you can see, Liang has skills, 2 levels of skill in strike and kick, as well as grapple standing, has 1 skill level in agility, and 3 in iron body. And iron body will be explained in the book as you get into it, so I'm not going to get into detail right now. But damage block down below, so you can keep track of how many points of damage Liang takes. And the fighting techniques. So Liang knows chopping fist, cannon fist, round kick, and side kick. Along with the damage of each, you can see what type of crit takes place if they break their opponent, because that is what's used later when you have the GM's guide and you see all of the crit tables. You'll know, okay, it was a headshot or a body shot, and that's going to be very important on what type of crit happens. Now, as we get into round 1, so the backstory is you are in the city and there's a festival going on, and during the festival in the marketplace they have Li Tai fights, which are these platform fights. As I said in another video, Li Tai matches are like the UFC without the cage around it and fancy geometrical shapes. So in match 1, round 1 of the fights, Liang is faced off against the fisherman. And there's a little backstory about why the fisherman is somebody that you really want to beat up. It goes step by step on what you want to do first. Now this first match, first round, is a little bit more hand-holding than some of the ones later in the book. So it's going to choose which technique you use first, just so it can kind of lead you into the mechanics. And you'll see it breaks down the dice, how to assemble your dice pool, and then a section about rolling the bones. Next up, we have the fisherman's reaction, what he's going to do. So you're going to roll for both your Mantis Boxer and for the Fiends, unless your friend is with you, and then, like I said, they can roll for the Fiend. Now the fisherman has his abilities. You see his stat blocks, a little damage block, so you can keep track of what he has. As the fight goes on into round 2, it now leads Liang into kicks instead of punches. And then we talk about brokens, crits, and the shove action. So each match, each round is going to introduce you to different actions. Once the fisherman beats Liang or Liang beats the fisherman, so if you fail to win any of the matches, you go back and you start over from the beginning. Just reset the damage on Liang and off you go. For match 2, round 1, he's going to face off with a sailor, a foreign sailor who was in Yantai during the festival and decided to partake in the matches. Here, we're going to switch from offense to defense so Liang can learn how to defend against the sailor's punches. When we get into match 2, round 2, now we're going to learn a little bit more about iron body, how kicks work, how the dodge action works as well. So as you can see, we go step by step through each of these fights, which are included in the playtest materials that you can find on the Kickstarter campaign or on fistfiends.com. This will take you up through these first 2 matches. Once we get to round 3, we start talking about blocking, striking, grappling, how to grapple, as well as pushing, rolls, and banes, and fighting spirit. And it's expected at this point that, again, you either finish off the sailor, keep going through more rounds until you do, or the sailor beats Liang, and again, you start over. The beauty is you don't need another quarter to start again. And there is your introduction to the Shadow Box. There's over 45 pages included, as well as the character sheets in the back for both the Eagle Claw and Mantis Boxer, including their combat stunts. So you have the digital copy of the book. You can easily print those out to use side by side as you run through the campaign. Ends in a nice cliffhanger that will lead you right into the Silk Road campaign, where you'll kick off your adventures with your friends and you'll know full well how the combat works, so you won't feel like you're holding anybody back. You can replay this over and over again as much as you want, or you can play it and pass it off to a friend so they can learn it too. I hope you enjoyed that sneak peek, and I look forward to you actually having the shadow box in your hands, and I hope that some of you get to open it as a gift for Christmas, either this year or next year, and it does for you what the red box did for me when I was a kid.